want to introduce yourselves first, and then I'll...
Sure. My name is Aaron Huey. I'm a sophomore student at Montgomery Community College, and yeah, from Rockford, Maryland.
Hi, my name is Mason Holmgren. I'm a sophomore at Montgomery Community College.
Go, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right. Well, hello and good morning. Thank you very much for having us back here. We're excited to rediscuss this proposal that we presented earlier to you before. And through this presentation today, we want to reanalyze what the problem is within the infrastructure of your company, and then what the solution that addresses this ethical problem is, and how it can actually benefit you in the long run. But the problem in and of itself lies within your representation. It lies where your brand is, it lies where your name is. And the fact of the matter is, your team, your organization, the Washington Redskins, has a name that is offensive, it's insulting and derogatory toward Native American culture and heritage.
Right, and when we went back and looked at where the term Redskin originated from, we found a certain excerpt from the Daily Republican, a newspaper in 1863. And what the gist of the article was that the government was willing to pay for the deaths of Native Americans. And in the article, they termed Redskin as the bloody scalps of Native Americans. Now, your organization is worth $2.4 billion. And to have your organization representative of bloody scalps is not in your best interest, especially in the long run.
Absolutely, and this case was only 150 years ago, and it still has relevance today, immense cultural relevance today. In fact, we've done the research, we looked at the data, and statistics show that 83% of Americans today wouldn't call a Native American a Redskin because they see it as offensive, they see it as a racial term. And Native Americans are speaking out against this, and it goes beyond just what the American people are saying as well.
Yeah, what's actually really interesting about that is many news organizations won't even refer to the name Redskin. They're telling their workers not to use Redskin on national television. So when the Redskins play on Sunday Night Football, a lot of people from CBS aren't even using the term Redskins. They're saying that team from Washington. And that has drastic implications going forward.
Absolutely. Obviously, the name in and of itself is offensive. It has racial references that aren't at all positive toward that race. But it's a problem for your business. And we understand you're a company, you're an organization, and sometimes what is ethically sound changes from organization to organization. But in this case, you are the nation's Capitals team, America's Capitals team, and your name is a racial insult. And while that's an ethical problem, it also has financial implications in that ethical sphere. We want to focus on the ethical standpoint here, but as a business, it's important to know that due to this controversial topic in the news today, you've experienced a 43% decline in retail revenue. And that's because of this topic here, and that can be easily changed through our solution. That's why we want to talk about today. We want to talk about how we can change this ethical problem, how we can bring your company to a new ethical level of operation. And that's through your name. And we want to talk about that, your name. We suggest that you change your name, but not just that, rebrand your team. And in doing this, in taking advantage of this rebranding opportunity, you'll benefit in the long run from it. No longer will you be associated with this controversial, unethical topic in the news, but you'll be thought of as a role model in a changing industry. Through this rebrand process, we want you to engage your fans. You're losing the loyalty of your fans right now. We discussed how fans are recognized as an unethical problem, and they're protesting by saying, no, I don't want to wear that merchandise. I don't want to buy that merchandise. That's why your retail has declined so much. But rather, instead of repelling away your fan base, invite them in by giving them a new symbol that they can rally around, a new rebranded symbol. And also, one thing I do want to touch on is the legal side, just briefly, because the ethics is strong in this case, but you may be forced to make this decision before you can take the initiative to do so. The Federal Trademark and Appeals Board is actually taking action against you today, and they're attacking the rights to your name. They recognize that as offensive, recognize the name as offensive, and if this appeal goes through, you'll lose the rights to your trademark, which has drastic implications for your business. You won't have rights to that name that you're selling. People will be able to counterfeit goods, which will also cause your retail to decline as well. But it also has implications on an even higher level than that.
Right, and like Aaron said, this problem has escalated to the point where the government might come in and just take away the entire trademark. And of course, that looks bad on your organization. It's going to be bad in the media. It's going to get worse than what it already is. But think about the opportunity in that. If the government's out there coming and saying, hey, we're going to take this away from you, how about you make the change? Make the ethical stance here and say, we're going to change the name before someone forces us to do so. And through that, you can set precedent not just in sports, but in business around the world. When businesses face this issue going forward, that the name is derogatory, they're going to look back to this case and recognize, the Washington Redskins leadership did the right thing. They looked at the media, they listened to the media, they listened to the American public, and they looked at the ethical case. They asked themselves, is this ethical? And the fact of the matter is, they changed the name. They're going to see increased profits in the long run, but most importantly, they're going to be doing the right thing. And during our 30-minute presentation, we talked about the Global Business Standards Codex, which is a standard that asks the question, are businesses, is a specific business ethical? And what we actually found out was the Redskins are in violation of just a couple, but there's one we really want to hit, and that's the dignity principle. And the principle just asks, do you have respect for all individuals? And what's actually interesting is when the Redskins go to games, say at their home stadium, or even here in New Orleans, when they go to the Superdome 2 years ago, they were protested outside the stadium. That's an issue, especially when the team is getting off the bus and they're seeing these protests. That's going to affect on-the-field performance and everything else. But yesterday, you asked a really great question. That was, take away the finances, take away the business, take away the legalities. Is this an ethical issue? And what we found was, yes. When we went to school, when we're younger, we go to school, we read in the textbooks that the Europeans came here 300, 400 years ago, and they pillaged Native American civilization. They massacred them. We read about the Trail of Tears. And people have this sensitive spot towards Native American culture. And that's still an issue today. I mean, we see that going on at the Redskins games. We see it in the media. We see it everywhere. Native Americans are being affected by this. Your organization is resisting change in an evolving society, and we need to make this change.
Absolutely. And while that has drastic consequences from where you are now, the solution that we're proposing today wipes all that clean, which is why we're hoping that you consider this as this utmost important decision to make, because this is where you could be if you continue down this path, not changing the name, not responding to what the American culture is saying, like, hey, this is unethical and something needs to change. You applying the solution and rebranding your team gives you the ability to jump ahead of the curve. And like Mason said, it's better to start now, start this rebrand now before you're forced to by the Federal Trademark and Appeals Board. Where you are right now is the perfect opportunity to do this. I mentioned engaging your fan base. They're loyal to you. They're not loyal to the name Redskins. They're loyal to you as a team. They like the team. They like the organization. So keep that, engage them, give them a voice. In our 30-minute presentation, we talked about how fans have even created their own ideas for a rebrand move, right? Like the
Washington Bravehearts. That was Maria Braveheart. She's a prominent Native American figure today. Fans have already created replica images that you could potentially use in this rebrand movement.
Absolutely. So really what we want to leave you with is the fact that yes, there's financial implications, there's legal implications, but it all roots from this ethical issue. You're losing money now because of it. You're being attacked by this board because of it. But it does come back to that ethical issue, and just solving it by applying this proposal will immediately wipe all that away and give you the opportunity for a future gain as a company. So stop repelling away fans with this racial slur that is your team's name, but rather give them a new symbol for them to rally around, something that they can stand for, something that's ethically sound and actually brings honor to the Native American culture. So thank you very much for listening to our proposal today, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Okay, and finally, with